Sunday, August 27th, 2017. To you. Like any other Sunday, it could have been appropriate to write about sports. Instead, I will refer to the Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Conor McGregor match, which took place at the T-Mobile Arena in Paradise, Nevada yesterday. Before anything, I wholeheartedly object that an activity whose objective is to knock your opponent out should be considered as a sport. You might have guessed that I dislike both boxing and mixed martial arts, and I do. Notwithstanding with above, there are some issues I would like to remark. After his defeat in the 1996 Spanish general election, Mr. Felipe Gonzalez said there has never been a defeat so sweet and a victory so bitter. The same can be said about yesterday's fight. Mr. Mayweather had a spotless 50-0 streak in professional boxing. Mr. McGregor, though he's still the UFC lightweight champion, was fighting his first pro boxing match. Both fighters wore 8 ounces instead of the usual 10 ounces gloves, but still it was a full-fledged boxing match, unlike that strange event occurred in June 1976 between Mr. Muhammad Ali and Mr. Antonio Inoki in Japan. And yet Mr. McGregor could resist 9 rounds playing Mr. Mayweather's own game. By the way, what could Mr. Gonzalez say if he knew that I'm quoting him in the letter about a boxing match? Secondly, the event was known as the money fight, and it certainly was. Mr. Mayweather had already ensured a check for $100 million and Mr. McGregor another one for $30 million. On top of that, Mr. Mayweather received $350 million and Mr. McGregor another $100 million in terms of pay-per-view, box office and merchandising. There were fellows who actually paid $100,000 for a result ticket. Oh, and I forgot to mention the alligator leather belt earned by Mr. Mayweather with 3,360 diamonds, 600 sapphires, 300 emeralds, and 1.5 kilograms of pure 24-karat gold. By the way, Mexican beer maker Corona was the main sponsor for the fight. You could see its logo in the center of the mat. Of course, I would not have expected to see Cadbury instead, but certainly Corona is not a top-quality brand in the beer market, as I have been told. Finally, it was estimated that around 80 million were bet on the match. That should make our eyebrows rise. A lot has been said about the pervasive effects of betting on sports. Indeed, the love for the game could easily turn to greed for money, as it happened in this austere event. But if it were the case, why should we love sports? We could as well gamble in the roulette wheel or on horse racing. That being said, Mr. Felipe Gonzalez, let me paraphrase you. What Mr. McGregor needed was a poke and a kick. The world is still on.